young lady. Our first valedictorian for this evening is Ms. Soraya Curi.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. How many of you have peers? I'd like a show of hands, please. How many of you have peers? But I can see some people with their hands down. Come on now, let's be honest here. It's the human condition to fear. Be it a trivial phobia, a strange one, or a merited one. We all have something which causes us apprehension. Perhaps it's fear of death, or of flying, public speaking, heights, even pain. Or, in my case, fear of running out of toilet paper in public bathrooms. I'm telling you, strange phobias. Now that we've established the fact that everyone has fears, permit me to ask you this. How many of you have ever let fear stand in the way of a dream, a goal, or an important decision? That's what I thought. After your fear, did you ever feel the pains of regret? No. How many of you have faced your fears? Good. In the introduction to his best-selling book, The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho wrote about personal callings. He more or less defined a personal calling as the path for us here on earth. He also wrote, quote, "Whenever we do something that fills us with enthusiasm, we are following a legend. However, we don't always have the courage to confront our own dream." He goes on to discuss the 4 obstacles that people often face. The most important ones, I believe, were obstacles 1 and 3. Obstacle 1 reads, we are told from childhood onward that everything we want to do is impossible. We grow up with this idea, and as the years accumulate, so too do the layers of prejudice, fear, and guilt. There comes a time when our personal calling is so deeply buried in our soul as to be invisible. But it's still there. When I read this, it really struck me. Think back to the times when we were just a kid, when the world seemed so simple and we were fearless. I'm not sure what it is, innocence, naivety, or a lack of cynicism, but children don't think in terms of what is or is not possible. Their desires come straight from their hearts. I'm certain that at one point in childhood, all of you had to answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Perhaps the answer to this question for you was an astronaut, or a vet, or, the more popular choice, a superhero or firefighter. Not only was the entire world open to us at our feet, but childhood was a time when we weren't scared to play in the mud or walk around barefoot or eat too much ice cream. What happened to that? Why are we so self-conscious and overly cautious? Is that what growing up did to us? And speaking of which, I noticed that there's also a point where that question I mentioned earlier changes slightly. People no longer ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Instead, it's just, what do you want to be? And every time I hear that, I feel as though I am running out of time to decide. It's as if there's an invisible hourglass ticking away our time and the many decisions available to us. The options seem to narrow. What do you want to be? Is the answer still an astronaut? Why did it change? Is it really such an impossible dream? The more time goes by, the more we begin to settle. We settle for good instead of great. We settle for what is rather than what could be. We settle for what we already know rather than trying to discover something new. We feel comfort in what we already know will work out. What's your personal calling? What do you want to be? The person who settles or the person who searches for something more? More importantly, what dreams have you buried inside yourself? Obstacle 3 is the fear of the defeats we will meet on the path. We who fight for our dreams suffer far more when it doesn't work out because we cannot fall back onto the old excuse, oh, well, I didn't really want it anyway. We do want it, and we know that we have staked everything on it, and that the path of the personal calling is no easier than any other path, except that our whole heart is in this journey. It would be very unrealistic to make the claim that everyone will always achieve their dreams if they try hard enough. Sometimes things do not work out. There are dreams that do not come true, dreams that start off wonderfully and then end in misery. There are also dreams that will never have the chance to happen. But should that knowledge stop us from trying? Wouldn't it be worse to just let the opportunity slip away? Many people have thrown away the chance to obtain everything they've ever wanted. The regret associated with that fear far exceeds the pain and failure. Regret is like a plague or a chronic illness. It stays with you forever. Whereas failure is only a bad head cold, very annoying, but it goes away. The inevitability of failure is something we will all experience. It is not making an effort that is a failure in and of itself, because the chances of any goals being realized are zero. It is important to take a few steps out of a comfort zone and dive into something completely foreign. Fear is a limitation we impose upon ourselves. Most of the time, everything we need is in place. All that's missing is proper action. Too many of us are crippled by fear. We stand frozen, not knowing what to do, unsure of how to act. There are fleeting moments where our inner strength reveals flashes of itself in the form of endurance and defense. But those fleeting moments are just that, fleeting. A spike of adrenaline, a rush of nervousness, and then it's all gone. Fear of any kind hinders us. It oppresses who we truly are and who we want to be. In order to reach our fullest potential, our most supreme state of being, we must learn to either walk above fear or walk beside it hand in hand. However, we must never bow to its will. How many days will you spend wondering what life could have been like if you had just tried something, gone left instead of right? As we walk across the stage tonight, we walk with the knowledge we have acquired during our tenure at Johnson Senior High. We walk with excitement and happiness and a bittersweet feeling at leaving behind all we've ever known. About 4 years ago, most of us started off as scared freshmen. The high school seemed so big and so intimidating. And then, one day, before we knew it, we weren't afraid anymore. We walked with heads held high throughout the hallways, made many friends, formed unique relationships with some teachers, and simply, we grew up. We walked strongly. Tonight, we walk with not only strength, but conviction. We will also learn to walk without fear. Don't settle. Don't let others dictate where your future will lead. Search again for your personal calling, for the things that will make you content the rest of your life. There is no guarantee we'll ever see the opportunities we missed ever again. There is no guarantee that we will succeed in every endeavor. Life is not guaranteed, nor is anything else. You were given life, and someday we will all die. What happens in the meantime rests in our own hands. Will you walk tonight with fear? Will you confront your demons and thus your dreams? Will you choose what is only easy? Will you spend any second of your precious time wondering, what if? Class of 2011, I don't ever want you to wonder. I want you to know. Thank you.